All right, let's jump right in. We're tackling a massive question today, one that's, constantly being debated. What's the real price tag for fixing a national education system that's been neglected for decades? And we're not talking politics here. We're going to dig into the actual calculated numbers.
So this question right here, this is going to be our guide for this whole breakdown. And let's be super clear, we're not talking about a little extra funding here and there. Nope, we're talking about a total reset, a complete overhaul to a level of quality, think private school level, that most people just assume is impossible for the public system. And look, this isn't just some number someone guessed. The figures we're about to walk through come from a really detailed calculation. It accounts for, well, everything, from teacher salaries and fixing up buildings, all the way to the kind of specialist support that really makes an education top tier.
So what's the final number? Well, we can't just pull it out of a hat, right? We're going to build this price tag together, piece by piece. So let's get started. First up, the money it takes to just run the system, day in and day out, every single year. Okay, so this is the first part of the puzzle. And honestly, it's the biggest. We're talking about the annual running costs. The money you need every year, not just to keep the lights on, but to make sure a new, revitalized system can actually thrive.
And no surprise here, the biggest cost is people. I mean, it makes sense, right? You can't have a world-class system without a world-class workforce. And this cost is really broken down into two main chunks. First, hiring all the new people we'd need, and second, making sure we're paying and treating the staff we already have fairly.
Okay, so first up, the new staff. If you want to hit that goal of having, say, 20 kids in a class, which is a huge deal for quality education, you need a ton of new people. We're talking about 175,000 more teachers, 105,000 more teaching assistants, plus another 40 to 50,000 support staff. Just that's about 12 billion pounds a year, right off the bat. But that's just one side of the coin. It's great to hire new people, but what about keeping the amazing, experienced ones from walking out the door? That's what this next bit is all about. It's the money to restore teacher pay after years of cuts, give support staff a proper raise, and create real incentives to actually stay in the profession. So when you add all of that up, just for the people, you get a whopping 35 to 40 billion pounds every single year. And according to this analysis, that's not a nice to have. It's basically the price of admission if you want a school system that actually works and is built to last. Okay, so that's the people. What about the places, the actual school buildings? For way too long, the approach has been what the source material calls patch and pray. Just wait for something to break and then scramble to fix it. This new model, it's all about planning ahead. And what does that kind of stability cost? Well, somewhere between 12 and 14 billion pounds a year, every year. That's the money that makes sure roofs don't leak, the heat actually works in the winter, and we don't have another massive crisis like we saw with that crumbling rack concrete. It's literally the price of having safe, modern schools. All right, our third big recurring cost is what I'd call the special sauce. It's the stuff that takes an education from just okay to genuinely excellent. This quality of experience bucket covers everything from proper support for kids with special needs to modern IT and, so importantly, mental health services. Now, this number is huge, 40 to 55 billion pounds a year, I know. But the argument here is that this is proactive spending. It's the money you spend now to stop things from completely falling apart later. It's the investment that helps prevent test scores from dropping, kids from being excluded, and the mental health crisis from getting even worse. So let's add all those annual costs up. The total recurring uplift, the extra money needed every single year to run this new system, comes out to between 110 and 130 billion pounds. And you can see how it breaks down. The biggest chunks are for that quality of experience and, of course, for the staff who make it all happen. Okay, so that's the ongoing running cost. But hang on, what about all the problems we've inherited? The decades of decay that are already there. You can't just ignore that. To fix the past, you need a totally different kind of investment, what's being called the short, intense, one-time rebuilding blitz. And this rebuilding plan has three clear goals. Goal number 1, fix everything that's already broken or dangerous. Think asbestos, bad roofs, the works. Goal 2, build the 40,000 new classrooms we need to actually get those smaller class sizes. And goal 3, bring all the buildings into the 21st century by making them energy efficient. And the total price for this one-off blitz? Somewhere in the range of 30 to 40 billion pounds. Now, that's spread out over about 5 to 7 years. It's a massive upfront investment for sure.
But that's what it takes to get our schools safe, modern, and ready for what's next. So let's recap. We've paid a big chunk of cash to rebuild everything, and we're paying more each year to run it properly. You might think, okay, that's it, story's over. But this is where things get really, really interesting. Because what happens after that 7-year rebuilding project is finished?
It really breaks down into 2 phases. You've got phase 1, the first 7 years or so, which is that intense, high-investment rebuilding period. But then you hit phase 2. The system is stable, it's modern, and believe it or not, some of the costs actually start to drop.
It's a completely different way of thinking. The old way is just constant, expensive chaos. You're lurching from one emergency repair to the next, paying insane energy bills, and just managing one crisis after another. The new way? It's a stable system. You have planned maintenance, you have energy efficiency, and that leads to real built-in savings.
And here is the big payoff. Once that initial build is done, the new system actually starts saving money. We're talking about permanent savings of 6.5 to 8 billion pounds a year. How? Well, that huge one-time construction bill is gone, planning your repairs is way cheaper than panicking, and modern, efficient buildings just cost less to run. Simple as that.
All right, we've looked at the yearly costs, the one-time fix, and the long-term payoff. Now it's time to put every single piece on the table and see the final, complete financial picture. And here it is, the whole shebang. You have that big, recurring annual investment to keep things running at a world-class level. You have the one-time blitz over 5 to 7 years to clean up the mess of the past. And this is the key part, once that's done, the new efficient system actually saves you money year in and year out. So, the numbers are clear. The analysis lays out the cost of excellence, plain and simple, which really leaves us with one final massive question. It's not just who pays, it's what are we willing to pay for? Do we pay the high upfront cost of building something that works? Or do we keep paying the endless hidden price of letting it fail?